In the Batman movie The Dark Knight, character Harvey Dent says you either die a hero or live long enough to be a villain. The R35 GTR has now been with us for more than 14 years. So we're here at Sandown Raceway to have one final drive and to figure out whether it's hero or villain. The car I'll be driving is this last of the line R35 GTR T-Spec. Power and torque are the same at 419 kilowatts and 632 Newton meters, but it scores these massive carbon ceramic brakes, a carbon fibre rear spoiler, Alcantara interior, and the return of a couple of very iconic Nissan colours, Midnight Purple and Millennium Jade. So let's hit the track and see if the R35 GTR can still cut it more than 14 years later. I tell you what, here on track, there is absolutely nothing that's out of date about the R35 GTR. It is an absolute weapon. But down the straight here, back straight at Sandown, 180, 190, 200, we're going to hit about 240, 419 kilowatts, 632 Newton meters. That is still plenty. Hard on the brakes, carbon brakes here in the T-Spec, carry plenty of speed in. Tell you what, it's hard to think of too many better racetracks for this thing actually. Sandown, point and squirt, bumps, curbs. The R35 might be 14 years old, but it does not feel its age in terms of performance. One of the funny things about the R35 is that throughout its life cycle, it's gone from this technological masterpiece to almost feeling a bit old school. Obviously, there's still heaps of tech in here with the diffs and the engine and the gearbox, but you know, I've got proper feedback through this steering. The steering's very light, but still gives me some messages about what the car's doing. The rest of the car also feels kind of, I'm not going to say organic, because it's, like I said, a lot of technology going on in here, but you get plenty of feedback and plenty of connection. It's not at all a sanitised experience. God, this thing's just so fast. Got great brake feel from these carbon ceramics. Bit of oversteer on the exit. These diffs are just set up beautifully. Got the suspension in just the regular mode rather than R because of the bumps of this track. And it's soaking them up beautifully. You can use the curves, you can use the bumps. Massive braking performance. Bit of ABS chirp, but we get into this corner. But even use third through here, carry the speed, back down to second, the gearbox is still so fast. And that's the thing, if you re-release this car right now, with what it can do, it's still a pretty compelling package. So the R35 GTR has copped some flack over its life for just being super easy to drive, driving itself, and nothing could be further from the truth. Yeah, you got heaps of grip, you got heaps of traction, you got great brakes, but while you can go very, very fast without much effort necessarily, if you really want to drive this thing to its potential, you've got to be on your game, you've got to be really on your game. Partly due to the sheer speed, partly because you've got a lot of weight to manage. But what this car really proves is that the GTR concept still has plenty of legs. And what's really important is that I think the GTR concept will lend itself really, really nicely to hybrid technology. It's always been a technology leader. Not necessarily anymore because it's been out for 14 years, but if you go back to R32, R33, it's always been pushing boundaries. So if there is an R36 in development, by adding sort of hybrid drive to this, you're going to have better punch off the corners, you're going to have more power, you're going to have even better traction, as well as it still being the fastest thing on four wheels. So while we say goodbye today to the R35, hopefully in a couple of years' time we'll be saying hello to the R36 that still has that GTR cocktail of talents. Immense speed, traction, high technology, and still a pretty fantastic driving experience. So while the R35 has definitely lived long enough to become a villain, still dying a hero.